the unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops no one knows. We're going
Well, good morning and happy Wednesday to everybody, and welcome back to Criminality. And I want everybody to know that I was singing that song straight to the unraveling. It was my voice. I was singing it to them. It's not true. I can't sing like that. Na, 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 na. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon. I don't think it's evening. Maybe it's evening for some people. I'm not even sure. Hi, Unraveling. Hi, Sleuthy Goosey. Hi, Danielle. What's up, Bianca? Thierry. Snappy Dragon. Hi, Marshall. I just got in my car with my dog and have a 7-hour trip. Oh, my gosh. Well, if Sleuthy has anything to say about it, I'm going to be on here all day. I don't know if I can make it. I was up really late putting together the Harmony Montgomery video, and I'm like, why? What's up with the early wake up call with this kind of stuff? Hi, Lindsay. What's up, Ashley? Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Stacy. Hey, Tom. Strictly Chaos. Hey, Jayo. What's up, Teresa and Teresa and Teresa? I'm just going to say hi to all the Teresas really quick. Just get that out of the way. What's up, Kels? Mandy. Hi, Nancy. Hey, Mindy. Grin for me. This shit is absolutely bonkers wild. Bonkers wild. Hey, Maligator. Aries Fire. Hi, Digital Jojo. What's up, Jen? Hi, Mrs. Krampus. Bob will be live in about an hour and a half. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, so that's good, because then maybe I'll get a break. We'll go over there and listen to Bob's thoughts. So it's I'm on the West Coast, so it's still fairly early. Not too bad. I just dropped off all the kids, got some breakfast, ate, and then I got myself like 2 coffees, because I'm like, I feel like today's just going to be a day. When I wake up and there's already motions that are filed like this, I'm just like, all right, this is how it's going to go. It's 4:15 a.m. Oh my gosh. Let's make Indiana great again. Hi, Kit Kat. I don't want you. You're all wet. You want to come say hi? Come here. Come say hi before I get started. You say hi to everybody? Say hi. No, not to me. Say hi to them. Look over here. There, say hi to them. There you go. Okay, no, you're not a lap dog. Oh my God. Okay, go lay down. I just got up and ready to dig in. Now that's my big dog. The 2 little dogs are under the desk in their beds. But this one just thinks she's a lap dog, but she's not. Okay. So when you guys see the little purple dog with the star for its eye as the emoji, that's her, because she has 1 brown eye and 1 blue eye. So that's Ursa. They're too Frito-y. Okay, see this. Now she just here. Show them your face. Show them your eyeballs. There you go. Get your hair out of your eyes. Stop trying to look at me. Okay. All right. Oh God. She's just all muscle. Please go lay down. You're gonna be in the way. Go lay down. No, not a lap dog. Okay. All right. So I'm just like, here we go. It's already gonna be one of those. You can see her tail still. So they're just like, all right. So first things first, we get, which I think we all knew was coming, all knew it was going to happen. Judge Gull issues an order stating that the motion to disqualify is denied without a hearing. So the court, having defendant's verified motion to disqualify against her, filed on January 28, 2024, and the affidavit and the certification under advisement, and having considered the pleadings, I now deny the verified motion to disqualify without hearing, as the Indiana Supreme Court unanimously denied defendant's previous request on January 18th, 2024. Now, we don't have the Supreme Court's opinion. So we don't know if they denied it and basically we're saying, go back to the trial court. That's where it needs to be handled. Take care of it there. We did our job by reinstating Baldwin and Rosie. Go back. Or if they're just like, no, she stays, they stay, leave it alone. Let's go. Let's keep moving. Back on track, as Justice Rush wanted to like to say. So for her to say like they unanimously denied it, it's not inaccurate. It's just interesting because we don't know what they stated as their reason for denying it. So I gotta move this. This is like not in the right spot. That's better. That's better. Yeah, Justice Rush is like, what the heck is wrong with you people? Hi, Caitlin. Hey, Lindsay. I know Nick is shitting my Nick's phone. Well, yeah, it's okay. We're gonna get there. We'll get there. So anyway, so I'm not surprised she did this. I think we all saw it coming as soon as she put the hearing on the books for February 12th and did not rule on this motion, knowing that she had to rule on it prior to being able to rule on any other motions. We pretty much knew she was going to go ahead and deny it without a hearing. So she is now, I mean, she's predictable because that was a pretty predictable move. Okay, the Supreme Court only had to rule on the defense because they were not the attorneys of record. It could all say it needed to be dealt with at the lower court properly. Exactly. And we don't know that yet. So all these motions, all these things that are happening, I'll still go back to my original opinion as I don't know why, that I don't know why they're not waiting to actually understand why the Supreme Court did what they did and made the decisions that they made. So, all right, now, goodness. So I have read this one. The next one I only skimmed, so we'll read it together. But this one's interesting all on its own. So I want to preface this by saying this filing is not because they believe that Judge Gull is going to dismiss the charges. This filing is for the appellate court. It's to put it on record that they have stated at the trial court level that this happened, and then when she denies it, they can take it to the appellate court if he's found guilty. So I do not expect this to go into a hearing where Judge Gull sits down and says, you know what, Baldwin and Rosie, I think you're right. And I think we'll just dismiss the charges. That's not what we're looking at here. They're just putting it on the record. But once again, there's still, of course, very interesting things that are put into these documents that I think are very relevant. I think are very important, especially to us who are on the outside, who are just trying to figure out what the heck happened here in this case and what happened to these girls and who's actually responsible. Is it him? Is it anybody else? Is it him and other people? I don't know. I don't know why she isn't. I don't get it. She's the one who started the whole thing. She started the whole thing. She just, right out the bat, they were reinstated, and she's like, deny, 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 deny. No hearings, no hearings, no hearings. And then it's just been like a tit for tat now. I hoped that after the Supreme Court, they would just go, all right, let's just go back to court. Let's just get this shit done and put on our big girl panties and do it. I kind of just thought they'd all just go in there. That was totally wishful thinking. Well, these women lie about his hair. Mario. I know. I know. I didn't expect an AM live either. I really didn't. But here we are. Hi, Four Pit Bulls. I really am. I went live early because I have this feeling that this is not going to be it for today. And so I'm like, okay, and maybe we should break it up. Hi, Shebe. I guess she's not as sick as her sympathy announcement made us think. No, she's good. She can hit deny really quick. Deny. She like has the deny button instead of a delete button. Well, I think she has the delete one too. She likes to use that. It's a tennis match. And we're like, who's next? What are you going to do? What are you going to say? What are you going to do? I'm beginning to feel as though a trap is being set for the corruptors, wishful thinking, or could this all be happening to satisfy a larger plan? I wonder that myself, Mandy, so I don't know. I mean, they're, and I think this is not fair on both sides. They're not, well, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. I think that on both sides, they're looking a couple of steps ahead. So as soon as she does something, they're like, okay, we're going to do something. As soon as Nick does something, then they're going to do something. And I think that they kind of are getting a feel for what the other side is about to try to do. Girl loves the delete button. That's why I was like, wait a minute. So I think she's got a delete too. She's got both. So, all right. So let's go through this one. I'm going to cough first. All right, not complicated, whereas it requires pro-level mental gymnastics to rationalize and dismiss what Ellie has shown us in actual confessions. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on whose confession you're talking about, because we have multiple confessions. Do they really think a juror is going to find him guilty? Here's the thing. Is the trial is about a good quote unquote story, and I say this all the time. It's the prosecutor has to get up there and tell a story that makes sense, has evidence to support it, and that the jury understands. And then the defense has to go up there and poke holes in that story and say, no. We have a different story. We have a better story. Ours has evidence that matches it, and just cause reasonable doubt in a juror's mind. So if a juror looks at Nick and says, hey, I think that, your story makes the most sense, then that's all he needs. All right, hold on. Before I start reading the dog wants out, give me a second. Bianca, this is kind of where I'm at. The way that things have happened so far, it's a setup for an appellate court to just love it and just go, yeah, there's no way for us to tell what the hell actually happened here. Not to mention there's not really a record of it, so we're going to start over. That's why I don't get why she wouldn't just step down. But did any of these confessions give cops that key piece of evidence they have been asking for? No, not that I'm aware of, because I'm pretty sure we probably would have heard it. We would have probably heard about it by now. If there was something explosive that only he would know, and that's part of his confession, from everything I gather, and this is really from the motions on both sides and from the commentary from the hearing back in the summer, it's considered generic in the aspect that it could be, it's my fault. It's my fault this happened. Something very generic in commentary, like, could you take it for, if I had just stayed at the bridge longer, I could have stopped this from happening. This is my fault that we're in this situation. You know, I don't know, because I don't know what it actually says. But we, in my opinion, we do know that it doesn't have anything earth-shattering that proves that he was the one who did it. There is no "I killed the girls," because they would absolutely be putting that everywhere they possibly could. All right, so this is the motion to dismiss for destroying exculpatory evidence. For anybody who doesn't know what exculpatory is, it essentially is any evidence that is deemed that could potentially put the defendant in a better light and exclude them from being the culprit, the perpetrator. So the motion to dismiss for destroying exculpatory evidence is brought to us by the defense team, Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rosie, who are stating that the investigators essentially have destroyed evidence. So comes now the accused, Richard Allen, by and through counsel Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rosie, and pursuant to the 5th, 6th, and the 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 12 of the Indiana Constitution and Indiana Code, moves this court to dismiss charges against the accused for destroying exculpatory evidence in violation of the standards set out in Brady versus Maryland. This, if you followed trials, you hear this a lot, a Brady violation. That's withholding or destruction of any type of exculpatory evidence. So you're like, oh, there's a Brady violation. That's what this says. And that's what they're accusing. That's what Baldwin and Rosie are accusing the state of now. In support of said motion, the accused states the following. 1, Richard Allen stands accused of murdering 2 victims on or about February 13th. Since receiving discovery on this case, the defense has unearthed significant evidence that third parties named Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall were involved in the murders. That evidence is critical to the theory of the defense. The defense would incorporate into this motion the contents of a Franks memorandum that was filed with this court on September 18th, which provides the details of the evidence that supports Brad and Patrick's involvement in the murders. In discovery, the defense found a document dated February 17th of 2017 that appears to be an FBI report memorializing an interview of Brad Holder. So I'm going to back up just a little bit, because remember when we went through the memorandum, they didn't have Brad Holder's actual interview. They just had the statement from the officer who did the interview. Now, that was one of the things they were requesting in their motion for a discovery deadline. They were also asking for a certain set of things that they had not received yet. We didn't know if they ended up getting these because we knew that they had gotten discovery material after the Franks memorandum came out. So now what we're learning is didn't happen. So memorializing an interview of Brad Holder, contained within the document are these words. So here's the document that they did have before. The below is an interview summary. It is not intended to be a verbatim account and does not memorialize all statements made during the interview. Communications by the parties in the interview room were electronically recorded. The recording captures the actual words spoken. Also in discovery, the defense found a document dated February 19th of 2017 that appears to memorialize an interview of Patrick Westfall. The report itself does not indicate whether the interview was recorded, although the defense would expect that standard procedure would require video or audio recording of all statements. This one's interesting to me because if you guys went and listened to, and if you haven't, you really should, Patrick Westfall did one kind of pre-interview and another live interview on Sleuth Intuition's channel. And he talks about how he was being interviewed in September of 2023. And that was when they asked him to do like lie detectors and DNA tests and things like that. And he states, and this is whether you want to believe him or not, he states that when he was talked to back in February of 2017, they essentially just asked him where he was. Like, I was like, oh, where were you? Okay, great. Like there was nothing to it. There was no in-depth anything. So, and we've talked about that, like that he didn't actually truly get an interview until September of 2023, after the Franks, or right when the Franks memorandum was about to come out and the depositions had just been done. So we don't know if there was a recording of the Patrick Westphal one, but they assume that there is. After locating the document, the defense sought a copy of the recording detailed in the February 17, 2017 report, so that the defense could listen to the exact spoken words of Brad Holder during his interview. That is vital to Allen's defense, particularly the statements that the author of the document admits were not memorialized in the document. Also, the defense requested a copy of all audio and video of Patrick Westphal's interview that was memorialized on February 19, 2017. On September 8th, the prosecutor communicated in a letter that there were no audio or video interviews of Brad Holder or Patrick Westphal available. Prosecutor McClelland offered no explanation as to why these didn't exist. Before the defense had an opportunity to investigate the reason why these material pieces of evidence were not available, Prosecutor McClelland called for the disqualification of attorneys Rosie and Baldwin as Richard Allen's lawyers. Judge Gall, without a great deal of hesitation, said she was leaning toward granting McClelland's request. Ultimately, Judge Gall caused Rosie and Baldwin to be taken off the case. This occurred before Baldwin and Rosie learned of why crucial videotaped interviews were missing. On January 31st of 2024, after being reinstated to the case, the prosecution turned over discovery to the defense. Remember, we just read that they had just gotten a big old batch of discovery, quote unquote, new discovery, and we were like, what is it? Is it really new? Is it just new to them? So turned over discovery to the defense, including a letter cataloging the evidence that the prosecutor was turning over to the defense. Contained on paragraph 5, page 5, paragraph 5, of the itemization of discovery are these words that explain Brad Holder's missing videotaped interview and Patrick Westphal's missing interview, if one ever even existed. Quote unquote, due to a DVR program error discovered on 9/20/2017, all recordings up to February 20th, 2017 were recorded over. There is no detectable audio found on this drive. Recorded over. So here's my question before we keep going. If the interviews are done in February of 2017, and then in September of that same year, you realize, holy shit, we don't have these anymore, what would you do if you were the investigator? From 0 hour. Again, the state is terrified. RA is getting his date in court with a zealous defense. State equals weak. I'm right there with you. Was DVR a thing back in? Yes, it was. DVR was a thing back in 2017. Now everything is streaming. What is it? A VHS? It got recorded over? It sounds like I'm in the 90s. You'd redo the interviews. Why not just go back and re-interview them? Why wouldn't you go back and re-interview them? Yeah, you don't record over things on a DVR. Well, technically what would happen, right, from my DVR experience anyway, was that it would start to remove the older items. So if I only had, say I had room for like 100 shows or whatever it was, and now I was at 101, it would go and remove number 1, and then it would make that one, it would move everything up. It gets worse, I know. now? What the hell? So they knew the whole time that they didn't have these interviews, and all McClelland says is, sorry, they're not available. They're just not available. Sorry, they're not available. And now that they're back on the case and he's out trying to amend the charges and all this other stuff, where the hell? Hold on. Where is the backup copy of the interviews? The ones that they took and put on the DVR? Certainly they didn't all use the same device to record the interviews. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I was thinking. Like, it would just back the other ones up. But you still have to download everything to be able to put it into Discovery. Hey, Ariel, DVR is a device that converts the signals from an analog camera into a viewable digital format that can be stored on a hard drive. Because I guarantee you there was no info to say that all those interviews were gone until this recent Discovery drop. That note by Nick was just written, not back in 2017. I'm boss lady, I know. Oh, we're not done yet. This is not it. This is not it. We're not done yet. Hold on. This is just the first one. We're gonna keep going. Yeah, the whole fucking timepiece, the whole fucking time. Ryan says, "Oh well, that won't be important. It won't be. It won't be important. All's well." Okay, there's no detectable audio found on this drive. Remember that Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall were interviewed during this very short window of February 14th to February 20th of 2017, within days of the murders. The videotaped interviews were deleted by the police. It is unknown what other interviews were deleted during the relevant time frames. The destruction of material interviews of key suspects early in the investigation demonstrates negligence, if not intentional conduct on the part of the state. How could law enforcement, while investigating the most serious of crimes, record over interviews of material suspects with recklessness or intentionality? As a material part of his defense, Richard Allen is expected to direct the attention toward Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall as being involved in the murders of these two young victims. The evidence will also show that Richard Allen does not know Brad Holder or Patrick Westfall, and therefore that Richard Allen had nothing to do with the murders. This destroyed videotape interview of Holder and of Patrick Westfall, if it ever existed, was expected to contain evidence that could provide exculpatory and material evidence in support of Richard Allen's defense. If a recording of Westfall was never secured, that too is a purposeful or negligent failure to preserve a material and exculpatory evidence. Experienced defense lawyers fully understand the significance of comparing and contrasting the accuracy and credibility of one's video audio tape statement with that information which is represented by law enforcement officers in police reports or summaries. It is through this process that Richard Allen would have been able to challenge the veracity of these statements of Holder and Westfall. However, the state's intentional or negligent destruction of the original recordings deprived the accused of such an opportunity. It doesn't feel like negligent. It's starting to fit. There's just too much. There's just too much. Hey, Jack's out of the box. Could this mean early eyewitnesses and family members' recorded statements were lost too? Who knows? Yeah, it could very well be. They could be lost. But as soon as I read this earlier, I was thinking, this explains to me, well, it gives me a better idea of why they kept saying we could have interviewed the person within the first few days. Like, we pretend, we probably have interviewed you. We've probably talked to you. But nobody was able to go back and watch anything if it was all just deleted. Even if it was deleted, because it might never have been recorded. And if it was deleted, how long did they know about it? How long did Nick know about it? Why didn't he ever tell anybody? I still can't believe Golis is still pulling her shit after getting bitch slapped by the Supreme Court. She now has zero chance to sit on the Supreme Court, so she's just getting scorched earth against the defense. The whole thing here is this is why it doesn't make any sense that she has not recused herself. Because even if half the world thinks that she's the greatest thing since sliced bread, the other half sees through it and goes, this woman is absolutely biased, and it's apparent she does not care what the defense has to say about anything. Now, once again, like I said at the very beginning of this live, I do not expect her to go in, have a hearing, and rule to dismiss the charges against Richard Allen. This is being filed by the defense team in order to appeal at a later date. This is part of what they have to do. But the information it contains is very important. It's called black robitis. I'll have to look that up in the medical dictionary. I'm right, I know. How about Richard's initial interview being logged under an incorrect name? Oh, yeah, and they also don't have the recording of that. Doolin doesn't have the recording. Yeah, nobody lost the magic bullet, though. It was actually a really good interview. I mean, not that it's, you know, just listening to what he says and what he even talks about with law enforcement. I mean, it's necessary information to have a whole picture. He says that he did, but then he can't find it, Mario. It's gone. So there's, no recording of it. Just his little note. His note in his notepad. No recording. The state's actions have deprived the defense of the ability to compare Brad Holder's words from February 17th of 2017, only 3 days after the victims were murdered, to the evidence that was unearthed over the next several weeks, months, and years. This would have allowed Richard Allen to determine whether Holder's story was consistent with unknown evidence at the time of Holder's first statement, and whether it is consistent or inconsistent with future testimony, be that trial testimony or deposition testimony, or statements made to other persons and witnesses. In any criminal investigation, the interviews of potential witnesses must be preserved, such as the precise words of Holder and Westfall in their 2017 interviews. Because as additional information is developed, reviewing prior statements may reveal inconsistencies or raise questions about other witnesses or other information relevant to an unbiased investigation. Without the actual audio and video that would provide the exact words spoken from Brad Holder's mouth, the accused Richard Allen will never, ever be able to know exactly how many inconsistencies existed in the original statements of Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall when compared to the evidence that was later discovered or future testimony of Holder and Westfall, nor can Richard Allen challenge the credibility of Holder and Westfall in light of subsequently discovered evidence. So, if we go back to like the Franks memorandum, it talks about how the, quote unquote, unified command essentially had just said that Holder, Westfall, all of them, they'd been cleared not to continue to go down that road. It had been cleared, they were clear. So, anybody who kept coming back to, to talk about Odinism or anything along those lines, it was like, nope, they're cleared. Nope, they're cleared. So if you have some not so experienced investigators in a crime like this, what are the chances, and this is just a hypothetical, what are the chances that they thought, these guys, they're cleared. We don't need these interviews. Let's just get rid of them. Who needs them? Furthermore, Allen is deprived of the ability to confront either suspect with their own words, contradicting any self-serving testimony they may offer throughout the investigation or the prosecution. On August 30th of 2023, following depositions in which the state of Indiana and law enforcement learned that the defense believed Brad Holder to be an actor in the murders, law enforcement finally re-interviewed Holder for what is believed to be the first time since 2017. While in 2017, according to the memorialized report, Brad Holder told law enforcement that he had never met Abby Williams, who was purportedly dating his son. His story changed in 2023 when he talked to law enforcement, because he said Holder told the interviewer at the 39-minute mark, "I barely even knew that girl. I've met her once. Therefore, one material and highly relevant contradiction exists. It is therefore plausible that many more contradictions would be available to the defense, but the state's intentional or negligent failure to preserve all of the evidence. Such negligent and intentional conduct on the part of the police has also resulted in the absence of material evidence, which could be exculpatory in nature. This circumstance, in and of itself, violates Richard Allen's due process rights. We must, however, place such conduct in a greater and more noteworthy context. It has also been discovered that former Rushville police officer Todd Click reached out to Prosecutor McClelland in an attempt to bring his attention the existence of an 85-page report summarizing the investigation that revolved around Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall, and other affiliates. This letter, which landed on Prosecutor McClelland's desk via certified mail on May 1st of 2023, was not discovered to the defense until more than 4 months later, on September 8th of 2023, during deposition time, or right after depositions. And only after the defense disclosed in depositions that they were aware of the Odinist ties to the crime scene and investigation. The failure to disclose on the part of the prosecutor, if not entirely intentional, rises to the level of an untimely failure of disclosure of potentially exculpatory evidence. The failure to disclose sheds further suspicion on the absence of the Holder and Westfall interviews referenced herein. Furthermore, as explained in the Franks memo, it appears as if law enforcement and possibly the prosecutor himself attempted to conceal the identity of a Purdue professor who contradicts the sworn words of Trooper Jerry Holman and Sheriff Tony Liggett concerning whether the crime scene contained signs of the involvement of an Odinist cult. I think everybody remembers Professor Turco, who they said originally, we don't know who we talked to. It was so long ago. We're probably never going to find him again. You know, we're never going to know who it was. We're probably never going to get to talk to them. But they said no. They said no, nothing to do with Odinism. Nothing to do with Odinism. And then Nick McClelland sends out in his motion says, we don't think we're ever going to be able to identify who it was. And then in the next batch of discovery, there's just a CD that just says Jeffrey Turco. Doesn't say anything about Purdue. Doesn't say anything about being a professor. Doesn't say anything like just Jeffrey Turco. This is our interview with Jeffrey Turco. And when they listen to it, guess what? It's a newer interview with the professor saying, hey, no, this very well could be. It looks a little, what does he call it? Not juvenile, but what does he call it? Oh my gosh, I can't think. Like inexperienced. The works of like an inexperienced or new, like, you know, God, I can't think of the damn word now. It was like a rookie mistake. Yeah, Odin fanboy. Yeah, it was like a somebody who was just beginning, or as Patrick Westfall would say, was playing acid trip. That's what they did. They played it. A fanboy, amateur. Thank you. In more recent discovery, defense also located a prepared. Oh, here's the other one. Hi, True Crime Web. Good to see you. Great live yesterday. If you guys haven't watched his live from yesterday, he goes over everything that he's doing to test the bullets and the unspent rounds. Not technically bullets, the unspent rounds, and how he's put them in different locations, which ones he's got. You guys got to go over watch True Crime Web's live from yesterday. It was amazing. I'm so thankful to have him to ask these types of things and do these types of experiments for us. I'm just reading through chat. Give me just a second. Just so many people popped in, and I did not get to say hello to everybody. So hi to everybody who has come in. Hey, Wick, I'm wondering if Richard Allen is a little slow, like maybe not the sharpest tool in the shed kind of guy. He seems very, I mean, average to me. I don't know. I mean, obviously I've never spoke to him, so I don't know. Like that's just when I think of it, that's what I think of. Oh, that's a great question. I wonder if he even would have, though, since what they technically were charging him for, this would not have been items discoverable to those charges. But because of the search warrant, I still don't think they would, because they never actually charged him with anything that had to do with this crime. Well, technically, he was a co-manager at Walmart. So that's I mean, not to say that they were all the brightest people, but I mean, you had to kind of know something. You had to know something to be able to get promoted and get to that position. They weren't just like, oh yeah, let's just throw you in there and see what happens. Hi, MB. There's an IQ level required to be in the National Guard. Okay, so here, this is the next big one. So I want to make sure I caught up with you guys first, and then we'll go through this one. In more recent discovery, the defense also located a prepared search warrant application to AT&T for data contained on Brad Holder's and Patrick Westfall's mobile devices. Each application states that Holder and Westfall is a known member of a religious sect, and elements of the murder have potential religious significance. I'm going to say it one more time. That Holder and Westfall are known members of a religious sect, and that elements of the murder have potential religious significance. This is quoted from the search warrant applications for Westfall and Holder's phones. So you cannot tell me that when this whole thing started, when the girls were killed, that the whole investigation started, that they did not believe that it had some type of religious significance to it. So, okay, so they had their phones too. Yeah. So somebody asked this in chat earlier, and this is such an important question. Why did law enforcement immediately think of Patrick and Brad? What brought them to them? What brought the investigators to them? Because if they weren't important, right? Why did they go there? Why did the investigators even want to talk to them to begin with? Becky did. Yeah, Becky did. She told Purdy, go check out Brad Holder. And this was after the interviews. Probably before the interviews were deleted, though. The search warrant states that there was elements of the murder that have potential religious significance. Where does that go? They just go, wait a minute, nope. Those sticks, they're all just thrown there. That tree that had blood put on it, that must be spatter. Like, how in the world? Hey, Bossy. The interviews that were deleted, well, we know that Holder's was deleted. They also claim that Westfall's was, but at this point, we don't even know if Westfall's was even recorded, because they've never stated that it was even recorded. Aries Fire, I would love to find that. I cannot find that clip. I'll be back. Need to run to the dollar store. Unraveling. Hi, all eyes on Delphi. Defense cited specific reports from people who knew BH in the memo. Yep. Yeah, here in Idaho, I figured Lori Vallow Daybell would use the dead guy did it all defense, since it looks like her brother Alex did the dirty work, but they didn't. In Delphi, they are avoiding Ron Logan. Hey, CJK. That Becky mentioned Brad Holder after someone mentioned Odin's, just that she had heard he was. Something along that line. She didn't say or suggest Brad did it. So in the memorandum, which is what I'm going back to here, was she simply just tells Purdy, like, hey, this is what to look at. Okay, so the information being requested is relevant to an ongoing criminal investigation. There's no evidence that the warrant was ever served. Also, the defense has not located any discovery regarding any data contained on Holder's and Westfall's 2017 phones or any other electronic devices. It defies logic that law enforcement would conduct forensic examinations of so many other phones in its investigation, yet ignore the phones of Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall. I'll tell you that's not the only phones they ignored, but whatever. Who were viewed as suspects within 3 days of the murders and interviewed by law enforcement, who then prepared search warrants for those phones. These suspicious facts further call into question the circumstances surrounding the destruction of key videotape statements of Holder and Westfall, if it ever existed, and support Richard Allen's motion to dismiss all charges filed by the state of Indiana. Defendant requests a hearing at which time he can present evidence and make arguments as to why these charges should be dismissed. Look, they're like, give me a damn hearing. Give me a damn hearing. The defendant requests a hearing. Can we just go in and we'll go over what I've got and just hear it in the damn courtroom. Stop denying everything before we even get there. The defense files contemporaneously herewith his memorandum in support of this motion, where for Richard Allen, for reasons cited herein and the accompanying memorandum, moves to dissolve all charges against him and requests a hearing on his motion. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. And then we'll go to the next one. AT&T wasted all their own money to go at themselves. The Binlander buddies. Why? That's so weird because so many people remember that being said, and I cannot find it anywhere. It's like the non secular comment that they retracted from that article. Hey Gladys, Marissa. According to Barbara McDonald, they did not collect the sticks right away, and they had to go back and get them. We don't know if that's true or not. Hey, these people weren't hiding their religious beliefs. I bet a cop knew what Odinism was because they were in the group. Well, I mean, it is. The two officers that are canine handlers, one's dog's name was Grim and the other dog's name was Odin. Things I've seen: recorder not turned on, mic not plugged in, everything on, nothing recorded due to gremlins. Turn tapes over for transcriptions and lost by transcribers. In a small town where I used to live, Ellie recorded interviews, but the sound quality was so bad that it was everyone's best guess to what was said. That doesn't surprise me. I saved some old interviews and articles into the Wayback Machine archives. If you can't find something via Google, try the Wayback Machine. Okay, perfect. I'm going to, because I cannot find that dang clip. Am I sounding like a robot? Does anybody else have that problem? Let me know. The non-secular comment is still in the, did I go to the Down the Hill podcast? No, I think I went to the Scene of the Crime podcast and listened to him there. Let me go back to that one and look. The prosecution. So in one of Robert Ives' interviews, that's what he talks about. He says, I did a lot of documents, but most of them were search warrants for telephones. He actually says that. He says that's what he actually filled out the most was search warrants for telephones. Did they collect the bark from the trees? I've heard two things on this, Hudis. I've heard that they actually cut down the tree that had the blood on it, and that's why people can't, quote unquote, find it out there, or weren't able to find it out there. And then I've also heard that they didn't do that also for a couple of weeks. I'd have no idea what's true and what's not. Yep, and Grim is another name for Odin. Yep. It is. I just think it's ironic that both two of the dogs that worked for that department, if they arrested BH and PW, I'm assuming, etc., the defense would say it was Richard Allen. We have no idea because we don't know what his defense attorneys would say. And conveniently, I've said, I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm retiring. That's it. Hey, Steve. I heard that the lost 42 seconds of BG video might because BG pulled his gun while walking. The reason we didn't get to see the 42 seconds. Just like preserving personal photos, of data is not saved in multiple places, you don't have the data. Why don't they have any type of backup system? I don't think they can. I believe it's actually in the state of Wisconsin that there's actually a law where you cannot have a third party defense without having a hearing prior to be able to put that other person's name out there and for the judge to decide whether that person is a viable third party. But Indiana doesn't have that. Most states don't actually have that. Odin. Maybe they're not actually doing canine training. Maybe there's some other stuff happening over there. Yeah, I'm kind of with you right now. I know that we aren't at trial yet, but everything keeps pointing to shit is just not adding up. IDAC is integrated with 2 separate systems that mirror all files. No mention of a speedy trial or exculpatory evidence on RA. He'll plead out soon. I disagree, Ruckus. I disagree. But as you say, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Can't have a speedy trial when they didn't get all discovery. So now they have to go through the discovery that McClellan didn't give them before. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, the new documents are very interesting. They're very interesting. Oh, did True Crime Web comment about the tree? Hold on, let me go back up. I cut down my F tree and have it in my basement for a luminol time test. Ooh. Yeah, I've heard they cut it down, but I've not seen any receipts for that. So it's just out there. It would be interesting if the officer that sued them, that was demoted, if he knows anything about it getting recorded over, since it was very early on in the investigation. It's a great question. Okay, let's go through the next one. This is the memorandum in support of dismissing the charges. You guys see it okay on yours end? Here we go. The memorandum, at issue is the purposeful or negligent failure to preserve and or the destruction of material and exculpatory evidence critical to the defense of Mr. Allen. It also involves the attempted concealment of the identity of key witnesses, later identified as Professor Jeffrey Turco, and other exculpatory evidence such as the Todd Click letter and evidence referred to by Click in his letter. By Indiana Code states that this court may, upon motion of the defendant, dismiss an information, which is his arrest, upon certain grounds. In this case, the defendant requests the court to dismiss this information pursuant to Indiana Code, which states that a motion to dismiss an information may be granted for any other ground that is a basis for dismissal as a matter of law. Such grounds would include a violation of the defendant's constitutional right to due process. Additionally, trial courts have an inherent authority to dismiss criminal charges where the prosecution of such charges would violate a defendant's constitutional rights. The section is merely a legislative recognition of this authority. Such grounds would include a violation of a defendant's constitutional right to due process, a motion to dismiss based upon a grounds specified in this code may be made or renewed at any time before or during the trial. Therefore, this matter is properly and timely raised. The Indiana Supreme Court has held that a serious breach of duty occurs when the prosecution willfully or intentionally, when unjustified by public policy, obstructs the access of the defense to material evidence in its possession. It is likewise a serious breach when, through lack of vigilance, the negligent destruction or withholding of material evidence by law enforcement officers or the prosecutor occurs. In such instances, grounds for reversal may exist. The Indiana Supreme Court has held that the negligent or intentional destruction of evidence by the police can provide grounds for reversal or dismissal on due process and due course of law. This is like just a lot of citing. This is the one that I haven't read. This is just all the citation. I'm not going to read every citation that they have in here. Material exculpatory evidence, on the other hand, is defined as evidence that possesses an exculpatory value. This is just a ton of case law to back up what they were saying. Kara is going on potentially criminal channel later. What? Potentially criminal. Why does that not sound familiar to me? I'm not going to sit here and read through all the case law. That's just going to get redundant. That's Brady violations. We already talked about that. Yeah, they have 11 pages of case law. I agree with Justice. Standard Indiana should be used for cases which the prosecution has disposed of arguably material evidence, which might exculpate. Exculpate. Okay, never mind. Not even going to try it anymore. The instant case certainly appears to be the type envisioned by these comments. Okay, in conclusion, the only remedy is for Mr. Allen's constitutional rights after violating and guaranteeing them is that the charges be dismissed. Like I said earlier in the stream, and I said it a couple times, she's not going to dismiss the charges against Richard Allen. That's if anybody thinks that that's what's going to happen here, I just take a step back and go, hey, that's not what we're doing. That's not what she's going to do. Okay, hold on. Let's see what you guys are saying. Teresa, do you put any of these docs up so we can read them for ourselves at our leisure? They're all posted in the Delphi chat for my Facebook group, and then they all end up getting posted on the Prezi, the Delphi Prezi, but not in a, what would I say? Not in a timely fashion. I'll say that. They do end up on there, but not, they don't end up on there today. So they are all posted. If you want, you can join. You just join the Facebook group if you're not already in there, and then you just join the Delphi chat that we have, and all the documents get posted in there. I know also if you're on Twitter, I know Sleuthy posts them. Sleuthy posts them on Twitter. I believe Bob posts them on Twitter. I'm sure a few other people, but those are the two that I know of. I said there and speak to all the people who were saying the defense was lying and making up Odinism now have some mud on their faces. No, they don't, because they're just going to say it doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Oh, here's going to be one. Here's going to be a big one. I can guarantee. I see this one coming already. See, they did investigate it. They did talk to them. They did investigate it. Why are they not arrested? No proof they did it. Well, Lynn, my opinion, in my opinion only, so take it for what it's worth, is we have the sheriff and ISP who decided to arrest Richard Allen. And there's a probable cause affidavit on why they decided to arrest Richard Allen. There is no probable cause affidavit on these other guys because Click, Ferenczi, and Murphy were told no by the Unified Command that they would already ruled them out, even though they were investigating a different, essentially almost like a terrorist group, a religious terrorist group. So I would say I would be interested to see a probable cause affidavit submitted by Todd Click and see what the comparisons would be. Because we don't have that 85-page report. And I think the whole point to that, the whole point to all of this is, yeah, please, Sleuthy, yeah, go ahead. I think the whole point to all of this is there wasn't enough follow-up to exclude these people from being involved. And how do you do your due diligence as the investigators when you just say, nope, sorry, wasn't them. Now you go and delete what they did have to say, and that's it. Like, they're just, nope, we don't want to talk about them. 2 weeks in, we're no longer here. No longer going to look at them. Hey, Kiga Kings. Kara on gag order? I don't know what that means. I missed a lot of the comments because I was trying to read and I couldn't read your comments and the comments over there. No, I don't think it's posturing. This is what they have to do. They have to put it on here. We talked about this before, Ruckus, when you were up here. This is just the legal side of what they have to do. They have to put this on the record so when she denies it, they can use it later at an appellate level if he's found guilty. That's it. That's why I'm telling people, you don't expect that you're going to see her going, okay, yeah, you're right, I'll just dismiss the charges. Well, shit, I don't know. The woman's so damn unpredictable. Maybe she will. Who knows? So they said they had those interviews but lost them. Yes, they said they were recorded over by some DVR error. This is the stuff that I feel like gets ignored. There's a search warrant that was written that says that these people have ties to a religious sect and that the crime scene has potential religious aspects to it. And then it's just like, nope. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, I'm sure it had plenty of probable cause. That's where I'm at with it too. But we're not there yet. Hi, Sleuth Intuition. Well, let's not forget. Yeah, you quoted the first part of the interview, but there's a second part to that interview that gets cut off. And that is where Todd Click says, but we do believe that the people named are the people that are the perpetrators of this crime. Not a ritualistic sacrifice, but does believe that the people named are the correct individuals. See, there's two parts to that quote, and that one keeps getting cut off. The second half of that where it doesn't go to not a religious thing. Yeah, it's just recorded over. What did it say? Hold on, I'll go back. I'll quote it for you. And I would play you guys the clips from Murder Sheet where they put it out in two different segments, but we all know what would happen then. So you're going to have to go listen to those two for yourself. It's in two different episodes. It's split up for a reason. I don't know the reason. You'd have to ask them. Here it is. So Brad Holder's missing videotaped interview and Patrick Westfall's missing interview, if they ever even had one, due to a DVR program error discovered on 9/20 of 2017. All recordings up to February 20th, 2017 were recorded over. There is no detectable audio found on the drive. If there was like Judge Judy episodes on there, there better be at least other fucking interviews that have to do with the case. Or is it just gone? It was just due to a program error, it's just gone. I don't know. Like Baldwin Rosie paid him off to say that. He even put himself on a platter to get in trouble with the bar. That ethics thing. Yeah, then the professor just, anybody who ties this crime scene to anything to do with a religious sect or religious components, their shit just goes missing. It just doesn't exist anymore. The interviews with the people, gone. The professor, sorry, we're not going to be able to find him, and then they just shove it in there with just Jeffrey Turco on it. And he actually says opposite of what they say that he says. Anything that's tied to that is just gone. Well, I can't arrest them. I'm not a cop. That's just silly, Lynn. I can't do that. I mean, go out there and do a citizen's arrest? I don't even know if I could, because I'm not a Indiana resident. Can I still do it? Would I be happy if they arrested them? If there's probable cause to do so, then I think they should, yeah. I've not seen the 85-page report to say that there is or isn't. But I do agree that there's a lot of commentary around this Odin stuff that's everybody seems to just want to ignore now. And then, but people who are very pro Richard Allen is the right guy get mad when people say ignore, like they ignore the bullet or they ignore the confessions or you can't ignore any of this stuff. I don't know why, like, you can't just go around just ignoring shit. Like, it doesn't exist because it doesn't work. It's all there, and we have to look at it all for what we know. Like, you can't just ignore all of it now. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Todd Click and Ferenczi and Murphy, who are all very highly credible law enforcement agents, have created an entire document based around their belief that these people were involved in this crime. And we're just like, nah, it wasn't Liggett and Holman, so we're not going to believe it. Or we're not even going to look at it. Like, just open your mind and just look at it and just say, holy shit, there's more to this. And it's just like I say on the other, you can't ignore that there's a bullet there. It's not just like, well, too bad. We just don't really care that there's a bullet there. We got to figure out how it got there. What does it mean? Why is it there? You can't just ignore all this shit. Watch me ignore it. I don't know why is it acceptable for the people of the United States to have public officials allowed to be part of organizations such as Masonic lodges? I think that's a great question, but I know. But I feel like this for everybody. I think that you can't. Everybody has to just stop acting like it's the end all be all on one way or the other. All of this plays a part. We just got to figure out where the fuck it fits. I mean, and that's only, I should say, we don't even need to figure out because ultimately the jury's going to have to be the one that actually believes it or doesn't believe it. How do we know how long the bullet was actually there for? Could it have been there for many months before the murders? Mama Bear, that is a great question. And one that I actually asked Steve from True Crime Web, because I do think that there has to be a way for them to be able to tell how long this unspent round was there, how far it was buried in the ground, how was it on the ground, was it at an angle in the ground, some of that stuff. I think that that's important, and I think that they should be able to tell if a bullet had been there for 6 months versus a bullet that had been there, or unspent round that had been there for 2 days or a day. So, but they should be able to tell that. So if they found evidence of Richard Allen being connected to Odinism, would people still think it had nothing to do with this? That they weren't runes? That's such a good question. Apparently, it's pretty common to find bullets and casings in areas like that just taking a walk. I've never looked myself. Well, the biggest thing when it comes to the bullet being there is that Richard Allen himself says he's never been on that property. That there's no reason for his bullet to be there. So how did it get there? Do you think we would be talking about Odinism today if there wasn't an accidental leak? Well, I'm not sure what your question means, because Odinism, when it comes to the case, has been talked about since the very beginning. Do you think, you mean like, would we still be talking about it? Well, the memorandum wasn't an accidental leak. It was actually just posted to the docket. So I'm going to, if the answer to that would be yes, I do think that we would be talking about it. I can be a professional sweetheart, Mandy. I don't know about you. I'm a professional at being a sweetheart. Some investigations have multiple POIs during the course of the investigation as each suspect is looked at, details are noted. Sometimes you have several good suspects. Then the hard work starts. I absolutely agree with this. I think that's why I keep saying, like, I think that the whole problem that they're addressing here is that they didn't go any further. They stopped. They thought about these guys, and then they were like, nah, let's not finish looking into them. And then you have a whole different set of investigators that are like, no, look, keep looking. And then you have this quote unquote unified command who's like, nope, we've already cleared them. So my problem here is the lack of the follow through. Why isn't I should just make a list. I'm going to do a Tom Webster and just make a damn spreadsheet of all the shit that adds up with the religious aspect to this crime. Because every time something else comes up, it has something to do with that. Why in the world? Tell me how many other interviews are deleted. I'd love to know. Is it just these interviews? It's the same question I had about Richard Allen's interview. Is it just Richard Allen's interview that got deleted from Dan Doolin, or he can't find? Or is it all of them from that day? No, we don't know. We don't. But we can't ignore that we can't just be like, no, there was no bullet found. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying, is you can't just ignore stuff. There is a bullet there. Unindicted, not the word I would use. The bullet shouldn't be relevant. It wasn't the murder weapon. But if it would be relevant because it would place him at the scene. Oh, where did Sleuth say? Some crime scenes are staged to mislead, so it's possible. Experts say the crime scene could be a bad attempt to make it look like Odinism or paganism. Now, I think that's going to come down to the same thing as I feel about the bullet. It's going to go back to the experts going against the experts, because, I mean, shit, just on court TV, they had two different experts. One's who's like, absolutely, this is absolutely Odinistic, this is absolutely this, that, the other. And then the next one comes on there and she's like, I don't know. Could be. They looked into them. That's the whole thing, is they didn't look into them, Lynn. That's what the whole thing is telling you. They interview them, and if you listen to Patrick Westfall's interview, he states that they didn't want to polygraph him. They didn't take his DNA, not until September of 2023. And now we have their interviews are being deleted. They have search warrants for their phones that they never follow up on. They never actually serve them. So they did not, they just said, there they are. Oh, hey, Pat. Hey, Brad, what's up? It's the lack of follow through, not just, hey, look over here for a hot second. Who dis? That's a great question, too, because from my understanding, Kelsey said that it was identified, but I don't know if it was ever publicly identified, but she said that she knew who it was. What's up, sweet dude? I know, I'm gonna pull a Tom Webster. Where is he? Let's get him in here and he can make a spreadsheet for us. He does such a good job. Or that, maybe there just was none. But that's what they keep saying about Patrick's, is that there probably isn't even a tape. We don't know if there is or isn't, or was or wasn't, because we now know there isn't. What a shit show. That's really the bottom line, is the whole damn thing is a shit show, no matter what you think. This is a good question, because if it is staged, as a juror, think of it like that. If it is staged and that's what ends up being presented to the jury, that the people aren't actually Odinists, but they stage it to look like Odinists or some type of religious sect and Norse paganism or whatnot. How do you as a juror require the prosecutor to be able to connect the defendant to knowing what the hell that even is? Because that's what the defense keeps saying, is that there isn't a connection, that he doesn't know anything about it. There's nothing that ties him to Odinism. There's nothing that ties him to like his devices to look things up. Hey, Midnight Rider. If Richard Matthew Allen were truly innocent, he would have immediately exercised his rights to a speedy trial upon arrest. He still can, so what's the holdup? Prison must not be too bad. Well, that's not really how it works. And most defendants don't actually exercise their right to a speedy trial until the defense is ready to go to trial. How's the defense team supposed to be ready to go to trial if the prosecutors haven't even given them all of discovery? If you were the defense attorney and you didn't have all of discovery, what would you think? What would you do? So I will politely disagree with you. And I do think that we will see a speedy trial request as soon as they are able to actually, one, know they have all the discovery, and two, go through all of it. And they have to get, people don't walk away thinking that I think that this is going to get these charges dismissed. I do not believe that. I do not believe that she's going to go and dismiss the charges. And that this is literally put on the record for if he is convicted to go to an appellate court. That's what this is. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know why. I just don't know why. Just don't ignore it. And call Carter. If Carter tells me they did, then Carter's going to be in big ass trouble because he's under a gag order and he's not allowed to. So, no, I'm not calling Carter and saying, hey, Lynn wanted me to ask you. Not doing it. I'd feel silly. Right, in every way possible. Yep, don't follow up serving him. Yes. Hi, Mariah. Yes. I like Tom. I like his thought processes. Tammy, tell me true. If I deleted things on my phone, pretty sure they could find that. I don't know how it would be on a DVR system. I have no idea. Why would they kill two girls? Why would Richard Allen kill two girls? Same question. If I were to delete info off my memory, pretty sure they could find that. The crime scene has runes both in the placement of the sticks and the positioning of the bodies. And Adrian has kindly agreed to come up on a live with me, and she's gonna teach us all the things. Yeah, why does anybody kill anybody? Nick in his office eating documents right now. Odin don't kill children. I don't. That's like saying Christians don't kill children. I don't. What is that? That doesn't make any sense. People kill people. I don't think it has anything to do with that. And I think that's where this is getting really misconstrued. In my opinion, my own opinion, is the people that they are claiming committed the crime are Odinists. I don't see it as they committed the crime because they're Odinists. What religion is Richard Allen? Hi, Angie, baby. Yeah, that's why I'm like, yeah, I don't. It matters. It's like Mormons don't kill children, but then you have the crazy ass Mormon adjacent who did and got convicted of it. A lot of people do. A lot of people still think that plays a part in it. See, this is the part that gets me is I need to know more, and I don't really even know how much more I want to know, but obviously I want to know all things, but I need to know more to go with that there was actually, like, I know Librato said that too in his interview about the sacrifice, like they sacrificed one girl and killed the other. And then it pushes more towards the opposite of what I was saying. So it's such a cluster. It's a mindfuck, is what it is. If the prosecution is so solid, then why fight the Franks motion? Just the hearing and see which side would have prevailed. If your case is so strong, why worry, Nick? Well, technically, he didn't have a legal standing to deny the Franks motion. She did that. Now, if you're somebody who believes that they're in cahoots, then you can go from there. Other than that, she's the one who denied it. Not Nick didn't have anything to do with that. Did I miss your question? Because I'll answer your question if I may have just missed it. So if rosary was found, does it mean that Catholic did it for religious reason? Point T is right. They could be Odin, but not because of Odin. That's kind of where I'm at with it. If it's that side, if it's them, I just don't. I can't. I don't. Just don't put blinders on. Don't put blinders on either way here, because we're not there. We don't know. But don't ignore things on the other side just because we don't want it to be there. Yeah, there's plenty of Odinists in prison for murder and crimes against children. But did they all do it because they're Odinists, or did they just do it and they're Odinists? That's just those simple little words that I know I always say, like, it's semantics, but oh, hold on. Anders Breivik killed 70. I don't know anything about that, Dave, but now I'm going to look. R.A.'s brother-in-law is buried in a German Baptist cemetery, according to sources. We've never heard if R.A. personally had a religion. Some have mentioned German Baptist as suspicious for the crime. Oh, interesting, Anna. I did hear on Sleuth had gone and talked about the brother-in-law, because I've got a lot of questions about the brother-in-law situation and him being, if this is why I said I have two working theories. One working theory with it being Richard Allen, and then one with it being what the defense has put out. So I have two working theories that I try to go through and see. And right now I'm really looking at this catalyst of the brother-in-law's death in 2016 for something, if it's Richard Allen, that could have put him into that spot. Oh, Leah, okay, thank you. I didn't know, because sometimes I miss him. None of it matters until court. That's kind of where we're at. That's why I'm like, this is just documents. These are documents. This is not gonna change what's about to happen. It's not gonna change that she's gonna deny this, and we're still gonna move forward. And in my opinion, still have a trial. In other people's opinion, there's gonna be a plea deal. I have no idea why some are so adamant that there's gonna be a plea deal. I do not see it, but there's some who absolutely believe that. I don't know. Could be. Yep. Hey, Mrs. Depp. Let's let the man have a fair trial. Then you can all argue in what you believe and don't believe. And here's the thing, and this is what I try to tell people too. And one of the reasons I'm not going to fight with people over their opinions on the case, because their opinion on the case ultimately doesn't matter. My opinion on the case doesn't matter. So why am I gonna? That's why I'm not going to fight with people about it. And to be very clear, I'm very open to people's opinions, but I don't like people's opinions of each other, if that makes any sense. You can have whatever opinion of Richard Allen that you want to have. That's fine, but as long as it's respectful. Yeah, I mean, people do take pleas when they're innocent, but Shelley, yes. More new docs from the defense. Was the boyfriend of the girls ever interviewed? If I remember correctly, now shit, if I could tell you the source of why I think this, that Logan was talked to with Brad back in 2017. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know what, I have no way to tell you why I think that or where I remember that from. But I think he was back in the day. And then I remember Patrick said that him and his son were actually talked to in September of 2023. Hey, Delana, all the evidence or the information in this case. So there's that. Yeah. On either side. I don't think either side is fully come out yet. I think there's going to be, people think that this is everything, and my experience is every trial I've ever watched, I've always learned something that I didn't know before the trial. Every single trial. Now, maybe is it bombshell? Not always, but I mean, there's definitely stuff. There's stuff and there's things. If he was, somebody needs, please don't repeat that. Don't repeat that I said that he was, because I cannot tell you why I think that he was. And without being able to source that for you, I don't remember if it was in the memorandum or where it was. So there's always more. And it'll be very interesting, like the people who are really adamant that he's guilty, when evidence starts to come out, maybe they start to go, wait a minute, what about this and what about that? Or the ones who are adamant that he's innocent, like they start to see more of, potentially he's guilty. All right, let me see. Yes, let me just check my case real quick and just see if anything else popped, because I just have a feeling that when it starts off so early, I just feel like there's going to be more today. It's just how my gut tells me. Right now, we just got the motion to dismiss and the memorandum. So I know that Bob is live. Let me go and so when we end this one, it can send you guys over there. I don't know if he started yet or not, but. And if you guys are following the Harmony Montgomery trial, it did start today. Opening statements were going to be taking place after lunch, which was probably while I was live. So I'm going to have to go back and catch up on that. And I did put out a Harmony Montgomery, like a 20-minute, 25-minute video just to summarize everything up to the point that we're at now going into trial. So let me add. Here it is. Let's save this. Okay, so I am going to hop off of here and go hang out at Bob's and just see what he has to say, because I love his legal brain. If something else pops off, we'll be back later today. Either way, I appreciate you guys being here. Even whether you agree with me or don't agree with me, I still appreciate you guys being here. I really, really do. None of us have the end result here. We all just have our thoughts and our opinions and our feelings. And so that's why I'm like, just be respectful of each other. And as I tell you guys, go out today and do something kind for somebody that you wouldn't normally do something kind for. And just see how it changes your day. Just try it. Try to be nice to somebody that you're not normally nice to. And just see what happens. So I'm going to end this. It should redirect you straight over to Bob's. And I will see you guys there. Go have a great day. I might see you later.